thank you for who I am. Thank you for all the things I'm not. Forgive me for the words unsaid, for the times I've forgot. Lord, remember all my life. You surely love sacrificed. Think of your early days, how I've changed along the way. And I know you believe, and I know you had dreams, and I'm sorry it took all this time to see that I am where I am because of you. And I miss you, yeah, I miss you. Mama, forgive the time you cried. Forgive me for the make it right. All of the stories I may have told, I've been wrong by your eyes, by your eyes. 'Cause I know you believe, and I know you had dreams, and I'm sorry to thank you for who I am. Thank you for all the things I'm not. Forgive me for the words unsaid, for the times I've forgot. Mama, remember all my life. You showed the love sacrificed. Think of those young and early days, how I've changed along the way. And I know you believe, and I know you had dreams, and I'm sorry to talk this time to see that I am where I am because of your truth. And I miss you, yeah, I miss you. Mama, forgive the times you lied. Forgive me for the making right. All of the storms I may have known, I've been wrong by your eyes.
Này bầu trời rộng lớn ơi, có nghe chăng tiếng em gọi? Mẹ giờ này ở chốn nào? Con đang mong nhớ về mẹ. Mẹ ở phương trời xa xôi, hay sao sáng trên bầu trời. Mẹ dịu hiền về với con nhé, con nhớ mẹ. Lời nguyện cầu từ chốn xa, mong ước con yên bình. Mẹ thật hiền tựa nắng mai ấm ôm con tháng ngày. Mẹ giờ này ở chốn rất xa, trong mơ con đã thấy mẹ. Mẹ dịu dàng hát khúc ca, sao con thấy mẹ buồn? Nhìn cánh đồng xa xanh, con nhớ về mẹ. Mẹ trở về với con ấm áp bên mái nhà. Và từ bầu trời rất cao, mong ước con yên bình. Mẹ ngồi buồn ở chốn xa, nhớ thương con vắng mẹ. Gửi về mẹ nhiều cánh hoa, thắm sương long lanh giữa núi đồi. Chợt giật mình tỉnh giấc mơ, sao không thấy mẹ? Nghẹn ngào thương mẹ bao la, mong đến mẹ hiền. Mẹ ở lại với con nhé, con đến với mẹ.
And the life. Those who believe in me, even though they die, will live. And everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Can I please invite you all to sit? I would like to welcome you all here this morning for this service of thanksgiving and celebration and remembrance as we bring to God our sister Vui and as we reflect upon her life today. It's lovely to welcome you all here to St. James and also to welcome those who are watching this service online in different parts of the world. Vui has family and friends scattered around the world, and they are joining us, if not in person, online. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Simon, and it's my great honour and privilege to be able to conduct this service today for a very special lady. As we begin our service today, just a few notices. First of all, everything you need for the service you'll find in the order of service that you will have received on your way in. Immediately following this service, we're going to be going to Carlisle Cemetery for a short service of committal, and you are welcome to join us there for that service of committal if you wish. And following the service of committal, the family would like to invite you to join them at the Andalusian, which is on Warwick Road, where there'll be food and an opportunity for you to continue to remember and celebrate Fui's life together. And also, if you would like to give a donation in memory of Fui today, all donations are going to support the work of Hospice at Home Carlisle and North Lakeland and the Eden Valley Hospice. And you'll find a place for your donations in the welcome area as you leave. There's a box on the table on the left. Today, as well as being an opportunity to remember and celebrate and give thanks to Fui's life, is also a day of great sadness. And we want to acknowledge the sense of pain and loss that you all feel today, but particularly David, Jean, and Judith, and Nathan, as well as other members of Fui's family. But today is also an opportunity to remember that there is hope even in the face of death. And that's at the very heart of the Christian faith, which we also celebrate in our service today. And so we're going to begin our worship with a prayer. And in this prayer, we ask God to meet us wherever we may be on our journey through this life and wherever we may be on our journey of faith. So as we remain seated, I invite you to bow your heads in prayer. God of all consolation, your Son, Jesus Christ, was moved to tears at the grave of Lazarus, his friend. Look with compassion on your children in their loss. Give to troubled hearts the light of hope, and strengthen us all in the gift of faith. In Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen. So we're going to sing our opening hymn, which is Abide With Me. Can I invite you, if you are able to stand and feel comfortable standing, please do so. If you're not able to, that is fine as well. But let's sing together. Abide with me. Abide with me, for eventide. The darkness deepens, Lord, with me abide. When other helpers fail and comforts flee, help of the helpless, oh, abide with me. Sweet to its close, eves outlies little day. Earth's joys grow dim, its glories pass away. Change and decay in all the round I see. O thou who changest not, abide with me. I need thy presence every passing hour. What but thy grace can fold the tempter's power? Who like thyself my guide and stay can be? Through cloud and sunshine, oh, abide with me. I fear no foe, with thee at hand to bless. Ills have no weight, and tears no bitterness. Where is the sick? Where great thy victory? I try therefore, Lord, abide with me. Can I please invite you to sit as Lynn reads to us from 1 Corinthians chapter 13.
If I speak in tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have faith that can move mountains, but I do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship, that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. Love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part, we prophesy in part, but when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child, and I reasoned like a child. When I grew up, I put away childhood behavior and put it behind me. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love, and Vui was love.
Thank you so much, Lynn. Our second reading comes from Revelation chapter 21, and this has been specially recorded for us by Vui's nephew, Hong Nam. Thank you, Toby.
A new heaven and a new earth. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth has passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them, be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain. For the old order of things has passed away. He who was seated on the throne said, I am making everything new. Then he said, Write this down, but his words are just worthy and true. He said to me, It is done. I am the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end. Till Thursday, I will give water without cost from the spring of the water of life. Those who are victorious will inherit all this, and I will be their God, and they will be my children. Auntie, thank you for everything you've done for me and for everybody. Anywhere you've been or anyone you've met, you always take care for everyone. And I believe people love you so much. Today could be the day we're not here to say goodbye to you, but I'd rather say until next time. So we will share all our memories to you. We wish you always be well and be happy. Wherever you are, peacefulness is always with you. Take care, Auntie.
I'm now going to invite Jean, who's going to read a poem.
Everyone's mum is the best in the world, but you are beautiful, mum. You are pure gold. You gave us everything, the best start in life. You're an amazing mother and a perfect wife. If I could have a quarter of your strength, a quarter of your courage, a quarter of your kindness, and a quarter of your generosity, then a happy Jean I would be. You've always been so kind and caring. Your whole life has been about sharing. You would do anything for anyone, a stranger, a friend, it didn't matter where they came from. But for your family, you went the extra mile. Even through hard times, you would smile. Holmshaw life has sometimes been a struggle, but you and Dad made it okay with a loving cuddle. Without you both, me and Jude wouldn't be who we are now. I hope, Mum, we make you proud. But early this year, when we got the news, maybe some people would have got the blues. But not you, Mum. I'll always remember what you said to me. I've had a good life, I have the perfect family. You were so brave from start to end. What you went through, I can't comprehend. But you never complained, you were super strong. But that's been you, Mum, your whole life long. Nearly 2 weeks ago, you took your last breath. Dad, me and Jude's broken hearts is all that was left. But we were there, right beside you, holding your hand, hoping to guide you. Wangnam explained why we had to let you go, to pass to your new beginning so your heart would flow. We hope you've gone peacefully to your new life. But once again, Mum, always remember you were the bestest mum and perfect wife. So to everyone here today, I have to thank you. And all I have to say is don't be sad or don't be blue. Please just remember what made her a special lady to you. You'll always be with us, Mum. Sweet dreams, Chuk Nu Nong. Love, Dad, me and Judith.
Invite Judith now to lead our next tribute.
My beautiful mum and best friend Louie. Jean and I are so proud and lucky to have you as our amazing and special mum. You really were the best mum in the entire world. Everything Mum did was to Dad, Jean and Nathan and I, and we will always be eternally grateful for the wonderful and happy life we've had. Mum was our strength, inspiration and hero. Mum had the most amazing, infectious smile and laugh, and every person she met, we know she touched the hearts of with her kindness, care and love. Mum always started conversations around food, as we all know food is a big part of the Holmshaw family. Mum was definitely a feeder, and if you entered Empire Road, you'd be third looking food to take home. She had such a welcoming nature that we were truly blessed to have the perfect mum. Mum enjoyed going out for birthday meals, shopping in Marks and Spencer's and Cranston's. And Mum's favourite place was simply just being at home with the family, enjoying the Sunday roast, having family time over a meal together and in the garden. Mum, although little, was the strongest woman we know, and despite life's challenges and ill health in the family, she always kept smiling and kept us all going. We know if Mum was here today, she wouldn't want us to be sad. She would want us to celebrate her life and remember all the special moments you may have been lucky enough to have had with Mum. For someone that had been through the Vietnam War, moved to another country, and to have learned a new language and culture, learned to drive as well as teaching me to drive, Mum really was a fighter and so strong to do this. We built family holidays to Blackpool, being squirted to the horse page with Jean and friends in the gardens, children. Weekly Italian meals at the Cellar Bowl, after keyboard lessons, and before dancing on Saturdays, where Mum would always have cannelloni and Jean and I would get lasagna. Mum was the best cook in the world. Her Vietnamese spring rolls, chicken and seafood paella, noodle soups and curries were the best. We enjoyed trips around the lake to go to Chinatown or to the Viceroy, and a family tradition was always a Holmshaw Christmas Eve, seafood platter with Prosecco, and of course a huge roast turkey from Marks and Spencer's on Christmas Day. I'll always remember family stays at Arthur Hall and taking Mum to theatre shows in London, seeing Hall Sparbury where Mum ate 2 breakfasts and then the whole continental breakfast, and then going to Buckingham Palace to meet the late Queen and King Charles, where Mum was lining up all the food. She liked sausage rolls, but I haven't got as well once. The late King Charles then said to Mum, how did you get here today? So Mum explained she was from Vietnam, and he said, did you come by boat? Mum said, no, I came by Virgin Trains in Carlisle. I really enjoyed going to see Tate Barry and Mum all over the country at all hours, and in particular the Princess Diana charity concert, because Mum loved Princess Diana and I loved Tate Barry. Mum really was everything to me and my best friend, having fun times together. All this everything about Mum, her big smile and laugh, huge heart, her hugs, advice, support, guidance and encouragement. Cooking tips and meals together at 8 p.m, 90 phone calls and being beat by her and Fire Road. Mum would often surprise me at work at lunchtime and turn up with a huge big smile saying, Mummy is here for lunch and I have food as I must eat. Mum would bring fish and chips, prawn mayonnaise, Marks and Spencer's sandwich, Cranston sausage roll for Nathan, Greg's or McDonald's, and often the combination because she wasn't sure what I fancied that day. Family is everything to Mum, and we know she missed her own family in Vietnam. Mum always put others first, when with the help of Jean, looking after Dad, we wanted to put Mum first. I was able to take Mum back to Vietnam one last time on Nathan and mine's honeymoon. I'm not sure if other mums go on honeymoons, but Nathan knew how much my mum meant to me and how much it would mean to Mum to go back to Vietnam after 7 years. So on our honeymoon, Mum surprised her 3 Vietnamese sisters, Chin, Tan and Clyde, at the airport who didn't know she was coming. So it was a very magical moment. Mum had a month in Vietnam, so for once had no one to care for, and finally her family and Nave and I could spoil Mum like she so deserved. When Mum was diagnosed with cancer early on this year, she was so brave and stayed strong and positive through countless hospital appointments and admissions to hospital. She never complained, just saying, okay, let's go forget when having chemo. We're eternally grateful for all the care and support, the Indian Medical Group, the district nurses, the NHS, carers including Twilight Years, Karen, Amy, and Fisher in particular, where Mum had a little soft spot for them, Columbia Care, Hospice at Home, and also Ian Valley Hospice. We're also so thankful for our Vietnamese cousin Wang Nam for caring for Mum and the family for nearly 6 months. Wang Nam, Jean and I said teamwork makes the dream work, and we pulled together to be there and look after Mum this year, like she had done for us all our lives. Mum's last family meal together was cooked by Wang Nam, which was a Vietnamese bourgeois spicy noodle soup in October. At the time we didn't know this, but after that day, Mum could no longer eat, but somehow Ben survived 5 weeks and 2 days with no food. We were amazed that this showed Mum's true strength and determination in life, and we hope that she would continue her strength and determination to myself and Jean. We as a family would like to say thank you to friends and family for their sympathy cards, messages and flowers, and thank you to everyone here today for coming to say goodbye to Mum, but also to celebrate what a wonderful woman she was. We'd also like to say thank you to Nathan, who's been my absolute rock, the Long family, Bruno, Sophia, Kath and Anna Tai, for supporting Mum and Jean, Dad and I to get through this difficult time. As Mum would say, our journey this year. I know how proud Mum was of Jean looking after her, as Dad and I are too, and in particular in the last few weeks, Jean had to care for Mum 24 hours, despite her own disability. Thank you, Jean. I know today, Mum will be looking down on us and saying, be strong like Mummy. I will always love you, Mum. And I know Mum will be saying, Mummy will always love you too, Con. Mummy, we're all together. Someone and know what am I?
Thank you so much, both Jean and Judith, for those beautiful tributes. When we were meeting to talk about today's service and planning what we would have, the family chose that wonderful, beautiful first reading from 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And if you know 1 Corinthians, the passage, Paul has been talking in the preceding chapter about the spiritual gifts that God gives to his people. But at the end of chapter 12, he goes on to say, now I'm going to talk about the greatest gift of all. And we have this wonderful passage that Lynn read to us from 1 Corinthians 13, which talks about love being the greatest gift of all. And the thing that brings us all here today is that Vui somehow has touched our lives, and we share a love for her, and she had a love for those of us here gathered, and those who are joining us online as well. I just want to share a few more words about Vui's life. So Vui was born in, and you must forgive me for my pronunciation of these words, but Lai Thung in Vietnam in 1945. She was one of 7 children with 3 brothers and 3 sisters, of whom just, I believe, 1 sister remains. In Vietnam, as soon as you can walk, you're expected to help the family. So as soon as Vui was strong enough and big enough, she would be out in the rice fields helping her parents. And when she was a little bit bigger, her job was to carry the rice sacks filled with rice from the field and cycle with that to the local marketplace where it would be sold. And she would do that first thing in the morning before she would go off to school. Vui was 10 years old when the Vietnam War broke out in 1955. And it's only fairly recently that she's actually started talking about her experiences of that war. Probably an indication of how difficult and traumatic it was for her. One of the memories that she shared, for example, with her family was having to run to a bomb shelter with her sisters. I think for most of us, if not all of us, it's hard to imagine what that must have been like. In order to prevent her sons from being drafted into the war, Vui's mother changed the children's dates of birth, including Vui's, so that they appeared younger than they actually were. And in fact, when I was informed of Vui's death and given her age, I was told 72. And when I mentioned this to the family, said, oh no, that's actually wrong, it's 77. At the age of 15, Vui became a full-time minder in Saigon. However, with the war still raging and the situation deteriorating, she felt it was important to try and get out of the country. She was given a seat on a plane that was leaving the country, but Vui, being someone that regularly thought of other people, surrendered her seat to a mother and her young child so they could take the flight out. Vui didn't realise, but that act of kindness actually saved her life, because tragically that plane was bombed and everyone on board was killed. Had she got that plane, we wouldn't have been here today. Vui was eventually evacuated and travelled initially to Thailand, and then from Thailand flew to America. And she arrived in America in the early 70s. And it was while she was in America that she met David, and as they say, the rest is history. They fell in love, came back to the UK, and they settled here in Carlisle, getting married at Carlisle Registry Office. And they went on to have two beautiful daughters, Jean and Judith. And David described to me, as we've already heard, that Vui was the perfect wife and wonderful mother. The family initially lived on East Nelson Street in Denton Home before moving to Empire Road, where they have lived for the last 42 years. And David at this time was spending a lot of his time away from home working on oil rigs. So when it came to moving from East Nelson Street to Empire Road, Vui managed to do that, handling, I think, young children and doing it all via taxi. So it can't have been easy. Vui loved Denton Home, and she loved the strong community spirit that exists here. And she felt particularly at home living on Empire Road. One of the people that took Vui under her wings was Lynn, who read our first reading for us. And Lynn helped introduce Vui to people in the community and helped her integrate in the community. Vui's whole life revolved around a family, being a wife and a mother. She made sure that Jean and Judith had everything they needed and would take them to their various activities around the community. As we've heard from Judith's tribute, she was a wonderful cook and loved to feed people. She made the best roats, as well as wonderful Vietnamese, Chinese and Thai meals. And I'm told at Christmas the turkey she would buy would often be almost as large as she was. She was a strong, inspirational, kind, loving person who put others first. And when the Vietnamese boat people started to come to this country in the 1980s, she was one of the first people to step forward to volunteer to help. She passed her driving test in the 1990s on her third attempt, learning the highway code by writing it out by hand. I don't want to say too much about her driving abilities, but her first driving instructor apparently came to David and said to David, "Don't send your wife to me again, she's going to kill me." It was also in the 1990s that, thanks to the Red Cross, Vui was able to reconnect with her family from Vietnam. Because when she left Vietnam, and because of the war, she lost contact with her family and for many years had no idea if they were still alive or not. And likewise, they didn't know if she was alive. So to be able to reconnect with them in the 90s was a very special moment. And since the early 2000s, Vui has made several trips back to Vietnam to visit the family. And again, as we heard, her last trip there was in 2017 when she accompanied Judith and Nathan on their honeymoon. Not many people take their mother-in-law on their honeymoon. But again, I think that shows the love and the respect that Nathan had for his mother-in-law and the love she had for him, and not just to keep an eye. Vui also served as a translator for Cumbria Police when it was required, and she gave a lot of support to Judith in her role working for Cumbria Voluntary Service and attended many charity events around the county. She also loved gardening and growing vegetables and herbs, and she called the yellow rose tree in her garden her little temple. And in the summer, I know there were many barbecues in the garden, often with a paddling pool and water fights. In 2017, we celebrated the wedding of Judith and Nathan here at St. James, which was a very special occasion and a very proud moment for Judith and for David. And Nathan said that Vui was the best mother-in-law he could have ever wished for. Although Judith did tell me that Nathan probably only really married her in order that he could have Fui's chicken curry. I'm sure there's more to their marriage than just that. As Judith mentioned, Fui was diagnosed with cancer in March this year, and although scared by the diagnosis, remained incredibly strong through it all. And as a family, they came together to really support Fui. And as I mentioned earlier, her nephew, Hong Nam, came over from Sri Lanka to spend time with her and to provide support, and I know that was particularly special. Although this has been a very difficult year for the family, during which time Fui has been basically housebound, there have been special trips such as going to Armathwaite Hall for Judith's birthday and the Inn on the Lake at Ullswater for David's birthday. And Fui said that she was so happy that the family could spend these precious times together. And even when she lost her appetite and was no longer able to eat, she still enjoyed sitting with the family at the meal table and just enjoyed their company. Again, Judith has paid tribute to all the people that have supported her, but particularly hospice at home nurses. And apparently when the hospice at home nurses came to the house, Fui would always tell them to make themselves a cup of tea and help themselves to anything they wanted from the fridge and make themselves at home. And the nurses would often comment to Fui that they were the ones there to try and care for Fui, not the other way round. But again, that says so much about her. I had the privilege of seeing Fui a number of times in the last couple of months, and I was just struck by how calm she was in the face of her illness and facing death, but also her incredible strength. I visited her before I went away to Israel for 2 weeks, and I really thought when I visited her I would hear that she had died whilst I was away. And I was amazed when I got back that she was still going on, and just shows her determination to fight and to live as much as possible. Fui eventually passed away very peacefully at their local hospice with Jean and Judith by her side, and will be remembered above all for being a very loving, devoted wife and an exceptional mother. When I visited Fui, I read to her Revelation chapter 21, that reading that we had earlier. And this is a wonderful passage that talks about what lies ahead for those who put their hope and trust and faith in Jesus. And I was sharing with Fui that Christians believe that death isn't the end, that Jesus has conquered and defeated death. In fact, in Acts chapter 4, the Apostle Peter says this: salvation is found in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given to mankind by which we must be saved. And I explained that the gift of heaven is not given because we deserve it, not because we've earned it, but because of what Jesus has done for us, the victory he won for us through his death on the cross and his resurrection. And for all who put their faith and trust in Jesus, we know that death isn't the end, but it's just the doorway through which we pass, entering into a new and wonderful life. And I love that reading from Revelation, which is why I read it to Fui, that it talks about there being no more death, no more pain, no more suffering, and no more separation. And I believe today, in the midst of the grief and sadness that we all feel at her passing, I hope we can take away a sense of hope that there is more to life than just this, that there is a life beyond this that we can look forward to, and that we have a God who knows and loves us. And that brings me back to that first reading from 1 Corinthians 13, because it's a wonderful passage about what love is like. And we can see so much of Fui in what Paul writes, but actually what Paul's ultimately writing about is God's love, and the love he has for each one of us. So my prayer for all of you, but particularly for David and Jean, Judith and Nathan, is that they may know God's love and be held by God's love at this time and for all eternity. And it's into God's love and care that we commit Fui today. Amen. Each one of you will have your own special memories of her life, so we've got an opportunity just to reflect briefly on those memories as we listen to Candle in the Wind by Elton John. we seem to have a slight technical issue. So we're going to move into a time of prayer, and we'll see if we can get that working again. So let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to come and gather together and to celebrate and remember Phoebe, and to give thanks, Lord, for her life, to give thanks, Lord, for all the things that made her the wonderful, special, unique person. We thank you particularly, Lord, for the love and devotion that she showed to her husband David, to her daughters Judith and Jean, to her son-in-law Nathan, and to her other extended family members here and around the world. And we take a moment, Lord, just to bring to mind some of the memories that we have today of her life, the things that we treasure as we think about her this day. Heavenly Father, as we reflect on her life, we thank you for her care for her family. We thank you, Lord, for her